YouTube Nation, Megaman TV, aka Me TV, aka the calm before the storm, but there's nothing calm about my demeanor. But this week, there actually is, right? Because we made history this week. We made history, and I'm not just talking about DC Universe, but I want to say, even though we did make history DC Universe, I want to say thank you guys. I understand I said it in text at the end of the video, but thank you guys for supporting me. I don't think it was enough. Thank you guys for supporting me. I really appreciate it. I never would have thought that I would influence so many people, all right, to stand up and say something. Man, I've seen the things that the positive comments you've said. I mean, one guy went on to make, what they call it, YouTube poop or whatever, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? But whatever, you know what I mean? And one guy said he was going to write an essay about me in his high school. Like, it's great to see the community come together because that's what it's about. That's exactly what it's about. And like I said, without you guys, this show wouldn't be what it is today. Thank you for watching the show. Thank you for sending me the information. And today's show is brought to you by Ultraman. That's right. Why? Because even when he blinks red, he still goes all out. And that's what this community is about, man. That's exactly what it is about. Now, like I said, I have some bad news for you guys. All right? But it's going to be like a Band-Aid. I'm going to rip it off real quick. All right? And I also have some great news for you guys. Because gamers have made history this week. And even though I am proud of gamers, I also have a little gripe about it, but not towards the gamers, but towards the media, all right? But we won't get into the bad news first, real quick. All right, let's start this right now. Last week, we talked about Sony, right? We talked about the terms of service. Now, I want to talk about this because the terms of service, all right, if anyone who didn't read the rest of the terms of service, it gives you an opt-out, all right? You can opt out of this terms of service even though you accept it. All you have to do is write them a regular letter, send it via mail, and say that, you know, even though I want to keep playing PlayStation Online, I refuse to waive my right as a consumer to join a class action lawsuit. They gave you this, you know, this right, you know, to opt out. Now, it does say if any of this fails, that the whole Section 15, it gets abolished pretty much. Now, I want to talk about this because gamers stepped up this week and made a template for you guys. For those who want to join it, but you don't want to write the shit out or don't know what to say, yeah, they made a template for you guys, all right? Standard template saying that, you know, you want to opt out or whatever, and all you have to do is put in your personal information, and here's something. You have to put in your PlayStation serial number. Yeah, I have a problem with that, because if Sony has all your personal information, why do they need your serial number? I don't like that at all. I really don't. Now, I want to get on this because Sony has made more moves, all right? This new 3.72 firmware update is coming out, all right? They aren't liable. This is what it says in the update, all right, in the rules. They aren't liable for any potential bugs that may hurt your PS3, may crash your PS3. Yes. Now, granted, last week we talked about how the hardware is yours, but they said the OS and all the software that they come out with games and all isn't yours. So now the new firmware is saying, even though their OS and software, anything that comes out, even though it has bugs, they can't be liable if it bricks your PS3. Now, mind you guys, every time a firmware comes out, there's always somebody screaming that the firmware bricked my PS3 or whatever. This is them covering their ass. So they're not liable for anything at this point. That's what they're telling you. They're not liable for anything. And here's the sad part, because with firmware, you have to understand, even if you don't try to get the firmware, if you say, okay, well, I'm just going to play offline from now on, I'm not going to play online, understand, future Sony games will have this firmware put on a disc. It'll be put on a disc. You know what that means? That means once you put in a disc, you'll have to accept the firmware. Now, mind you, if you don't accept the firmware, you have, in order to accept firmware, you have to be online, meaning you have to agree to the terms of service. You understand where this is going now? So you have to agree to the terms of service and then get the firmware pretty much saying, you're screwed. Well played, Sony. Well played. However, you missed the part of that. You did. Because for those who don't know, this week, we found out that the terms of service, that's right, is exclusive to North America. No other place has, no other region has it. You know, so UK, Hong Kong, Japan, Singapore, all those places, they don't have it. It's only North America that has this terms of service. Yes, so we're being stereotyped. And a lot of you guys said on the fan page, well, isn't this racist or whatever? No, it is stereotype, but I don't think Sony realized that we have laws, you know, protecting us from this. There's groups that are against consumer stereotyping. And if one of those groups gets a hold of this, you're in trouble. You are in trouble. You are walking a fine line right now, Sony. And you know what? I don't feel bad for you. I understand you're trying to protect your company from mass lawsuits and stupid lawsuits, but you have to understand, if there's a stupid lawsuit that's coming your way, the judge will throw it out automatically and say, this is a stupid lawsuit. You don't have to worry about it. That's what's going to happen, all right? To sit here and try to protect your ass from class action lawsuits, legit ones that you didn't take care of, and we're not talking about, you know, was it getting rid of, Linux. We're not talking about that. No. We're not talking about other OS. No. We're talking about the fact that you got hacked and you didn't take the right security measures, all right, to protect people's information. That's what this is about, all right? And you don't want to be liable for it now. That's a joke. It's a joke. Oh, I'm sorry. Unless people pay for that, after that year's up, for that $1 million or whatever that you try to sell people. Yeah, no one's paying for that. Anyways, in more Sony news, guys, Sony's boss, or should I say boss is, say that there's no current plans, we talked about this last week, for a new PlayStation Monster Hunter. They just don't want business. They don't want to make money. They don't want to make money. I mean, seriously, no plans? Sony, you're forcing me to go somewhere else. And I put it like this, if it goes to 3DS, I don't want to keep buying portables to support Monster Hunter, all right? Or other consoles, all right? So, Sony, you fucking up. You fucking up. But speaking of Capcom, yeah, we're going to get into this real quick. Speaking of Capcom, all right? Capcom denied Inafune when he wanted to keep working on canned Megaman projects. Yes. Now, look, I have a problem with this, all right? Because Inafune, even though he's telling the truth that, they didn't allow him, I want to talk about this real quick, because a couple months ago, Inafune talked about how Capcom didn't want Lost Planet to be made, and how Inafune kept working on those and they became a success. So let me get this straight, Inafune, alright? You could work on Lost Planet, even though they said not to, because they thought it was a failing franchise, but you didn't work on Mega Man, even though they said not to. So you'll work on Lost Planet, but you won't work on Mega Man, even if it's against their word. Both of them had against their word, and you still worked on Lost Planet. Inafune, I'm starting to question you. I'm starting to suspect you. I'm starting to watch you. Because as far as I'm concerned, you could have did something else. At this point, it just seems like you're just taking shots at Capcom. And guys, I'm not going to defend Capcom. But at this point, he's taking shots at Capcom and not doing anything for himself. He should be ashamed of himself for doing this, because he should be moving on. That's what it is, all right? Don't try to play the Mega Man card all of a sudden because people are upset about Mega Man Legends 3, all right? You had a chance, you did it with Lost Planet, and yet you didn't do it with Mega Man, which tells me you don't have a priority at all for Mega Man. That's what it tells me. All right, now, also Inafune comes out and says that Japanese and Western collaboration causes infighting. So let's get into this, all right? He says that Capcom's attempts at creating new IPs at the end of the last decade failed because collaboration between Japanese and Western companies lead to each party blaming the other for mistakes, resulting in substandard products. Meaning, this reminds me of, two brothers fighting and saying it's his fault, or brother and sister saying it's his fault. Oh, no, it's his fault or her fault. And then the parent comes in and says, no, it's both your faults, and you're both grounded. That's what this seems like. That's how childish this has come down to when it comes to developers, all right? It says, the concept founder explained that both Dark Void and Captain Commando failed to achieve success because the disparate arms of development meant that nobody took responsibility for fixing errors. Yes. They didn't want to take responsibility. It's his fault. No one has time for that. And it seems like since all this has happened, especially with Mega Man, that, people are so upset that even in Capcom's own offices, the employees, they're starting to rally. Seriously, Capcom, you have some dark days ahead of you, but we need to move on to more gaming news, alright? Crytek Dev admits that Crysis was an unoptimized mess, and that Crysis 2 didn't implement tessellation properly. Translation, they rushed the game, which is nothing new at this point, right? Now, I need to move on. DICE says that competing with Modern Warfare 3, it's not happening. That they're two different markets. And look, stop, all right? Just stop all this, because we all know if it wasn't in competition, you wouldn't have stopped Bobby Kotick from seeing Battlefield 3. And if you say that you're not in competition, DICE, then maybe you need to turn around and look at your publisher, because EA is saying all the right things to make this strictly a competition. I'm just saying, all right? Now, also in Modern Warfare 3 news, the developers say, we don't care about sales. Yeah, we don't care about sales. We don't care about competition. We're only making this game because it's fun. Get the fuck out of here. I'm saying, get the fuck, you gotta be kidding me. Look, we all know what Modern Warfare is about. Just Call of Duty in general. We know what Activision's doing as a publisher. Don't tell me that you don't care about sales. That's the biggest bullshit I've heard this year. I'm sorry for gaming. That's crazy. All right, but speaking of more bullshit, all right, Cliffy B, you know what? This guy just keeps he just doesn't know when to shut the fuck up. Cliffy B is upset. Yes, he's upset by the hateful scores that Gears of War 3 has got. You want to know the scores that Gears of War 3 got? An 8 out of 10. He got an 8 out of 10. That's hateful. I didn't know that good scores all of a sudden was hateful. You know what? At first when I read this is what I thought about it. And then I thought to myself, no, he's stupid and he's trolling. And it's funny because these are the same developers that say that gamers whine too much. And yet they're doing their own whining. I tell you, it's hypocrites. Didn't he just get finished saying that gamers were butthurt and all this? Man, hypocrite to the end. And I want to talk about this more because Cliffy B is trolling, because apparently when the Gears of War beta came out, he had tons of beta codes. And what he did was he put them on Twitter and said whoever can do the dumbest things on Twitter, picture-wise or whatever, he was going to give out codes. And people were stupid enough to try to do this. And the link is in the info bar. You should see what these people were doing. There's pictures of what these people were doing just for some Gears of War 3 codes. It's ridiculous. Also in Gears of War 3 news, DLC will be coming. That's right. Now, you guys have said there was like 20 to 30 pieces of DLC coming. Apparently, they want you to pay, what, $3 to $4 just to paint your gun? What the f? Are you serious? Stop this bullshit. Who in their right mind would sit here and trash your fan base and still try to milk you for all it's worth? Who would do that?
I'm somewhere between the real and the fakeness, the red pill, blue pill, real and the matrix, and I can't take this. If the game needs a new look, I'm between the tummy tuck and the facelift, and everything I say in these pages is straight from the heart. Non-magazines, y'all can't break this, cause I'll read the bit and it's a bit outrageous, like it's an ear virus and the shit's contagious. I'm downloading like, niggas actually play this, maybe I'm bugging out, maybe I'm on a spaceship.
It's confirmed. Phony people like phony people, and they stick around other phony people, alright? And it's not just YouTube, but it's in the gaming industry as well. And speaking of the industry, Codemasters, that's right, are planning, the people who made Bodycount, they're going to close down their studio. They're going to close down their studio. Also, in more studio closings, EA is shutting down the Australian Dead Space studio. What does this mean? We may not see another Dead Space. However, Dead Space 3 may be coming out. They aren't sure yet. But I keep telling you guys that it's not about overly graphics or just genres, but it's about features and options, and developers aren't listening. Well, it seems like one developer is listening, because after all the fans have said about this specific game, Dragon Ball is finally getting a Create a Hero feature. Check this out.
ドラゴンボールを集めると願いが叶うんだ。気合全開で頑張らないと。世界を混乱に導いた元凶の正体を教えてもらおうか。究極シェンロンを呼び出したのは
Damn, that looks pretty damn good. I mean, I haven't played a Dragon Ball game since GT. That's how long it's been for me. Alright, so if this game, all it's missing is online co-op, and I'm good. I'm good at this point. But I need to talk about more co-op games. That's right. So, for those who don't know, From Software, let's get into it. Dark Souls, alright, as you know, there's 4-player co-op in that. But anyone who breaks the street date of Dark Souls, From Software is sending out an Uber Black Phantom, an unstoppable killing machine. It's an NPC that will go after players if you break street date. That's amazing! amazing. That's how you fight piracy. That is amazing. From Software is doing their thing. I don't feel bad at all. And I'm telling you guys now, I have seen this thing in action. As of yesterday, or should I say Wednesday, I watched the streaming videos for Dark Souls. And for those who haven't seen it, the link is in the info bar. There are spoilers, all right? Tons of spoilers because the guy is playing through the game. This is from Japan, all right? So he's playing through the game, but the Black Phantom breaks into the game, and that's pretty much it. But you know what? You shouldn't have to worry about the Black Phantom. For the bosses that I've seen him fight, yeah, he's got a lot more to worry about than the Black Phantom. Anyways, I do want to talk about Dark Souls real quick, because for all the information that we've seen, I talked about this last week, all right? On the fan page, all right? For all the information that we've seen, how hard it's going to be, and Black Phantoms and all this stuff, there's one thing that I've still not heard. And I want to know if Dark Souls are going to have locked game saves. Locked game. Now, for those who didn't play Demon Souls, they had locked game saves. So when you saved your game, you couldn't save it to a memory card or stick or whatever, and you were screwed if your PlayStation got yellow light of death. You lost that information unless you had a backup hard drive and kept it backed up regularly. You were screwed. A lot of people lost their information. I need to know if this game is going to have other locked game saves, because it screwed the game really bad. Now, I understand that they wanted to fight, piracy and cheating and all this other stuff, but you can do that by tying the game save to the account. You can do that. But people don't want to hear that. So I need to know from the company, from the developers, by somebody, because there's a lot of media that's covering this, but they're not covering that. One of you guys have to step up and ask this question. You really have to. Now, I need to move on, guys, because Super Smash Land is now available. That's right. Get ready for that, guys. Also, the next DCUO expansion lets you travel into the past and explore Origins. We'll see what happens, because I've said before, expansion packs you should pay for, because it's like a completely different game. It's a whole new world. If they don't give you the content in this, then it's not an expansion pack. Sorry, not an expansion pack to me. Now, I need to move on to more gaming news, all right? Ni no Kuni is coming to North America earlier next year, all right? It says Mirror's Edge, that's right, more likely we'll have a sequel thanks to Battlefield, because DICE decided that they don't want to just make Battlefield games, but they have to understand that the publishers at EA, they'll do, if they're funding it, they're going to tell them what to do. It's really that simple. Now, I need to move on, because apparently Sony is developing a PS3 survival horror title called Until Dawn. Apparently in November's issue, there's a rumor on with PSN. Anyways, in Dragon's Dogma news, that's right. Now, we talked about this with Mass Effect. We've seen it in other games too. There's going to be same-sex relationships, all right? It's confirmed. So it seems like it's starting to catch on. You get what I'm saying? Now, also, in more news, Daytona USA is coming to Xbox Live and PSN. That's right, it's coming. Also, a game called Dust Force is coming out late in 2011 for the PC and Mac. So PC guys, watch out for that. Also, a game called Stellar Impact is now free to play. We have more free to play games. Alright, Final Fantasy X, or Final Fantasy X, how you like to say it, the remake is coming to PlayStation Vita and PlayStation 3. Also, Blizzard is planning 6 proven releases by 2014. I don't know how they're going to do that, but whatever. Anyways, in more news, Soul Calibur 5 comes out early 2012. Also, you guys were saying about this earlier this week, Final Fantasy 13-2 DLC is confirmed. Yeah, so pretty much you're not getting all of your RPG at this point. And it's not just, sections. They're taking away weapons. They're taking away monsters. Yeah, because this is what they're going to add to your game. This is in costumes. Costumes is not a big deal. But monsters and weapons, that's a joke. That's a joke. You're not getting all of your RPG. You're not. Anyways, in more news, Space Channel 5 and Bass Fishing is coming to PSN October 4th. They will be $10 each. Alright? Now, guys, I need to talk about this real quick, because we're getting to the great part of the show. Alright? Fantastic Fest, Fantastic Arcade, all right? Apparently, this fest or whatever is going on from September 22nd to 25th, all right? Now, it also includes special events. It's developer commentary, PlayStation Network opening day happy hour, PlayStation Network developer panel, storytelling and development in video games and film. There's some type of yearbook nerd photo contest. I don't know, but there's a lot of things. It's in the info bar for you, so if you're planning on going, please look at all this stuff. Also, I want to talk about this real quick. I'm going to slow this down real quick, all right? Guys, Online Gamers, and this is the great news, has cracked the AIDS enzyme puzzle. That's right. They cracked the AIDS enzyme puzzle, and as far as I'm concerned, it took scientists how many years? Guys, Gamers have stepped up. No longer do I want to hear about how gamers are slow or they're lazy, they sit on their ass, they don't do anything, they're antisocial. The media, that's right, you Fox and MSNBC, all you media outlets, why haven't you put this on TV? Why haven't you? You go ahead and you put on, oh, Grand Theft Auto and all this violence, but you're not putting down all the positive things. It goes to show you, gamers, that the media wants you to be outcasts. They want society to think that you're bad. Understand that. This is what I mean about having a responsibility as a gamer, understanding and educating others so they understand why you play games. This is what it comes down to. The media doesn't care about you right now, as far as I'm concerned, because they're not worried about politics that much. You are public enemy number one to the media. Any game that comes out, any violent game that comes out in the future, gamers are going to take flack for it. It's not the industry anymore. The industry doesn't care. You notice the industry never says anything against it, really. It's the gamers in an everyday life that are impacted by this. Understand, guys? But it goes to show you that gamers are making a difference. And they don't want to give us our credit. Now, I want to move on because Abertay University and BAFTA launched new game building tool for kids. So there's a young gamers competition, game designers competition coming up. That's right. Also, video games as a tool to develop motor skills for kids with FASD. This, I'm telling you, all this news, it's an info bar for you guys. And you guys were asking me, how can you get into the industry? Some of you guys said that, you're art majors and you want to get into the industry. You don't know how to. Well, there's a link in the info bar for you guys about how to become a video game artist. Apparently G4 actually did an article about this. So I'm rolling it over to you guys to see if it'll help you. And if you look in the comments, there's other gamers suggesting on things that you should learn as well. So once again, I'm happy to see gamers are helping gamers. Now, I want to say this because before I keep moving on, I want to talk about this. For everything that has happened this week, there's a lot of things that I feel should be in the Video Game Hall of Fame. Now, for those who don't know, there is a Video Game Hall of Fame in Iowa, all right? But it's only like we're going to nominate certain games. And anyone who saw the documentary King of Kong knows that players can go for their achievements into the Hall of Fame. However, if you're going to take video games seriously, why are some of these put as milestones in the Hall of Fame, especially helping the AIDS enzyme? That deserves to be in it already. See, it goes to show me that people or industries that want this gaming thing to be bigger than what it is, they're not taking the necessary steps to keep it that way. And I think it's up to us gamers at this point. And I don't want to say to bitch and moan about it, but it's time to start knocking on doors and saying, hey, you need to look at this. Why isn't this in the Hall of Fame? I think that's what it comes down to. So it's not just about fighting with companies all the time and saying you're wrong, but it's also about preserving our culture. And that's what this is. Gaming is a culture, all right? It's also about preserving our culture, in doing this. I think that's what it is. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to talk, try to probably get in contact with them and see how they feel about things, because they do have a website. All right, guys? I mean, seriously, all you have to do is Google Video Game Hall of Fame and take you right to it. But that's not the point. Anyways, guys, I told you last week, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, that I was having these talks with the mayor's assistants in City Hall about how I'm trying to get these arcades built up, and then the mayor, I still haven't heard anything from them. It's really getting annoying. And then the mayor goes to NBC, which is one of our media stations, NBC 10, and decides he wants to have a Ask the Mayor, Ask the Mayor special that's coming up. And this is what happened on Twitter.
Mic check 1, 2. I say what I mean what I say, what I feel, do whatever I want to. Got into something you can't undo. I piss on whatever subway your train of thought gotta run through.
Now look, guys, this show, I'm telling you, it's not going to work. This is simply for political spin. I'm telling you now, for those who don't know the details of how this is going to work, he's going to go on NBC for an hour. That's right, an hour. And he's going to answer Twitter questions. Yeah, all right? Twitter questions, thousands of Twitter questions in an hour? No way. None of these can be resolved with a proper solution within an hour. Do you know how many questions will probably get ignored? Do you know how many people will be answered but with BS questions? No way can you answer all these real issues in an hour. It's bullshit. It's giving false hope, all right? But people don't want to believe that. Apparently, I'm wrong for saying that. I don't understand that. I mean, seriously, you can tell that the writing is on the fucking wall. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's only worried about his image. And you can ask anybody in Philadelphia if he's doing anything great, and they'll tell you, no, he's not doing shit because he doesn't care. He doesn't care. However, I told you I'm tired of dealing with the mayor and his cronies. So now it's time to activate Plan B. I told you should always have Plan A, B, C, D, E, F. You should always be prepared. And some of you guys asked me, all right, how you can help the community online. I'll get to you guys later. You know what I mean? I will answer your question. You sent me private messages. I will get back to you, all right? But some of you guys asked me how you can help push gaming or even just recreation in general. You want to help as well in the real world. Well, there's a link in the info bar called Project for Public Spaces. That's right. You take your case to them and see if it's doable. And what they do is it's a non-profit organization. All right? Yes. So no money's being spent here. All right? You don't have to pay anything out of pocket. They will see if they can help you build rec centers and arcades and buildings and recreational places. Understand, guys, this can work. All right? It can work, but it's up to each and every one of us to try to make things better at this point. I've told you before, I can't do it on my own. I can't, all right? It's just impossible, especially when you have people who don't listen, who don't want to give you the time of day to even come out with any type of plan. All right, they don't want to listen to what you have to say. You got to keep knocking on the door. You have to keep begging them and carrying on. They don't listen until you get angry, and then you look like either on TV or online or wherever. You look like the angry person who's just fed up with it. All right, without any type of logical sense. That's how they make you look, because you've asked and asked and asked and asked, and they don't want to hear it. They just keep ignoring you, and then you get to the point where you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. But whatever. Anyways, guys, put this down. It's been a great week. It's been a hell of a week, guys. And I just want to say, gamers, it's been a good week for us. It's been, regardless of bad news, it's been a great week. And I know these shows are starting to run longer and longer, and I said I was going to come down, but there's so much information to get to you guys. So what I'm going to do is, if I cut the videos down, all the other information I will put on the Facebook page, because it's pretty much a hub for news anyway, all right? The regulars are there talking. You don't have to talk if you don't want to, but at least read the news, because this type of news, it's important to what you know what's going on. I'm just saying. Anyways, guys, it's been a hell of a weekend. I'll talk to you later. I should say hell of a week, starting the weekend. All right? I said start on Thursday. I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. Game on, guys. Next week, I'm out.